afternoon, everybody, and happy Wednesday. This is Leah and Ryan from FeathersLeadPigeonAuctions.com here with your Wednesday Fepa Wednesday and Friends, Fepa and Friends Wednesday. I'm thinking it's Friday, I wish. Anyways, we're going to send it over to Ryan. I'm going to check to make sure we are live on Facebook and YouTube, and Ryan is going to introduce today's special guest. Over to you, Ryan.
Hey, welcome everybody on YouTube and Facebook. Reminder, please, to like, share, and subscribe. We are trying to get, 5,000 subscribers by my birthday. So please, if you haven't done it, subscribe. Today's nooner is going to be a super great day today. We've got a super flyer on, a middle distance machine. Okay, a machine that wins. In the next 5 years, I'm going to have to go to his place and just take all those trophies he's got to get rid of for his next 5 years of trophies, because this man goes out and clobbers the competition. And you are going to hear today, Leah was already talking to our good friend today, and she was getting some inside information. She was like getting sneak peeks off the show. Leah, should I bring him on? Are we ready for him?
I think we are ready. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. Want to say welcome to everybody, guys. Ryan, before Ryan introduced today's special guest, I want to remind you this show works best when we are all interactive. So if you have questions, now is the time. We're going to be on for about an hour. Please post your questions in the comments and we will get to them. Ryan, let's introduce today's special guest.
The man I am talking about, the legend, the one and only. Even in Africa, he's won. There he is. He's in the dark. He's getting ready for going to sleep, but it's not night. Serge Van Elsacker, how are you, Serge? Hey, everything is going good. I wanted to say, again, thanks for that great auction that we had earlier there in the season. Those birds were fantastic. I can't wait to look forward to importing them in here shortly. But what a great auction. I never got a shot to come back down and visit you and go out for dinner. So, hey, until I make it back down there, we're going to have to make this our dinner tonight. Just don't eat anything on the show. It's rude. I wanted to ask you, Serge, how is everything going to the start of your season?
It's going very well. Better than I thought. Better than I could hope. We have five races now. We had a 65-mile race training. It was not a training; it was a race. Then we had 240-mile races. Then we had a 200-mile, and Saturday we had a 220-mile. The first race, my widowed cocks and my hens were sitting on eggs, but they came very good. I didn't win it, but they came very good. I was pleased. And since then, the last 4 weeks, I won everything. I won the first three, the first four, and Saturday with the yearlings, I won the first 8. And I had 24 in the top 30. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. Saturday was real pigeon weather and real beautiful weather. The week before they had some showers, and I still won the first 3 from 340 birds. Now we won the first 4 from 474 birds, and the first 8 from nearly 300 birds. But it was really pleased. I hope they keep doing it. I don't see anything special on them. I don't see them train. They train better than they did last year, but they flew well last year. They train better. The hawk problem is so. Once in a while he hits them, but they're still not too nervous. And I hope the weather keeps playing along, and we will have some good races. But so far it's good. Great.
Awesome. Now, my question, when you went to that your first race, you said, or training race or race, was 65 miles. Now, you said the birds came good. And for new people watching, or hey, even myself, what I think means came good and what a superstar like yourself means comes good could be two different. So on that first race where you said they came good, what impressed you? How did you know that they were on the right track? What was the telltale signal?
I didn't know they were on the right track, but there were about 570 birds. My first pigeon was 7, and then so on. I had more than we race here 1 to 3, so 33% prizes, 66% no prizes, and I had more than I deserve. I nearly had half in the prizes. which is good. Before that first race, I took them 4 training tosses. One was 5 miles, and the other 3 were 20 miles, and that was it. And they came 2 times great and 2 times terrible. So I did not know what to expect. And I sent them to the club, that 65-mile race, and they were there. And I was surprised. They were sitting on the eggs, no widowhood, and they still. A guy beat me with 5 pigeons, but those are the specialists here that only do in their whole life 65 miles. And his pigeons were 3 weeks of widowhood, mine not. And then, so I took the eggs away that Sunday they arrived from racing. And next week I won the first 3. And I had several in the top 10 and really good, really good. So I knew then they were on track.
And that 65-mile spot, that's Quievrin?
Quievrin. You filmed that release, yes?
Yeah. So
I'll let you know that I'll let you know by phone that the second release has not enough pigeons. Don't bother.
Okay, so is your club on the first release or the first release?
The first release, yeah. The first is the Interprovincial Antwerp, East Flanders, Brabant, and we're always on the first release.
You're always on the first. I think I've seen some of your birds. They were flying past all the competition. But so when you see those birds go out at Quievrin, and there's so many not hundred, but there's so many clubs in there, and you guys break it all down into clubs. So do you guys ever get an overall result out of Quievrin?
No.
Will you go?
But it's so funny racing. It's so funny racing and so hard racing and so it listens so close that always the pigeon to the east of us are faster than our pigeons. Practically 99% of the chance, or it must be a very hard northeast wind, then sometimes not. And it has to have something to do with how the trucks are settled, because you see them go and you think, oh, that's one flock. But it isn't on the way. And Dirk van Dijk, a name that's well known in pigeon sports, is they beat me, but if I can go basketing in their club, they won't beat me. Because my pigeons there are then in that flock. And it is like that. And sometimes I thought, Jesus Christ, I have so worse pigeons that I got beaten with a few minutes on Quievrin, but it's always the same. It's every week the same. It's really so hard in which club you basket and where the pigeons are in the truck. Really important.
Okay, and another question I had for you. So you went to that first race, which is 65 miles, and then you said your next race was how far? 200 and... how far was that second race?
How far is what? Sorry, Ren?
How far was your second race?
The second race is 140 miles.
140. So then it just keeps going up like that now.
I sent them that Sunday that you filmed. I sent them to Quievrin.
Yep.
They were sitting on eggs. I took the eggs away. On Wednesday, I sent them back to Quievrin. So Tuesday night basketing.
Right.
They came great that day. On Saturday, they fly down 140 miles. So 2 times 65 in 3 days, and then in 3 days, 140 miles. And then it goes for me, it goes every week. I don't do training tosses, you know that. I don't do it in between races. I don't do anything, nothing at all.
Okay, and how's overall? How's the health? How's the health on the Old Bird team? Perfect.
How's what?
Health on your Old Bird team.
I don't understand that. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Well. That's okay. He's asking how the health is. How is your health on your Old Bird team, Ryan? Is that what you're asking? Old Bird team? The health on your Old Bird team.
The health is very good. Otherwise, they don't fly like this. The health is great, and they look like $1 million. They're so slick, and they train well. I never had any problem. I treat them when they were sitting on eggs. I treat them with 5 days trichomonas and coccidiosis with BS from the weird.
Right.
And that's all they got till now for medication.
Right.
Because they fly. I thought last week I thought don't do anything, man. They fly so great. Stay away from that thing and don't do anything. And I didn't do anything, and they flew even better then.
Now, okay, so another question for you, Serge, and yeah, I gotta speak up so Serge can hear me. What is your regimen with these birds for loft flying? How are you loft flying them right now? Their daily exercise.
I do what I do 20 years. They come out once a day.
Okay.
For 45 minutes. If they fly, they fly. If they don't fly, they don't fly. The cocks, I mean, not the hens.
Okay. Now,
But they fly. But they fly most of the time. They fly 45 minutes. They sit down, bop up again, and that's it for the whole day. Once a day in the morning, not in the evening. This morning, because we got so hot, they were out at 6:05, and my hens were out at 7, and that's it for the whole day. Once a day. I do that for 25 years, Ryan, and it seems to work. I don't know. Some people don't believe me. They think, yeah, forget it. But I have 2 neighbors that are pigeon fanciers. They see me do it. My neighbor here, he can't follow me, and unfortunately, it's a good guy, but he can't follow me. So he let them out last week twice a day, morning and evening. I beat him even harder than the week before, a lot harder. I had 42 pigeons ahead of him.
oh man.
So he stopped doing that because it didn't help a damn thing, nothing.
And you know, ladies and gentlemen, I was in Serge's backyard. The neighbor's loft, you could actually almost think like, is that Serge's old loft just on the other side of the fence? It's literally 50 feet away. It's an incredible thing to see how Serge flies these pigeons and the consistency. If it's not broke, he doesn't change it. And your hens, how long are your hens working for in the morning? How long do you want to
My
see
hens
them
go 45 minutes, but they're in the aviary in the back.
Yeah.
So they come out of the aviary in the back, they go out, drain. I put a flag out for 45 minutes. I started with 30 minutes, build it up in 2 weeks to 45 minutes, because once they're used to that 30 minutes, you can't get them to do 31 minutes. It's a hell of a job. But after a week, they do it, and then you get them to 40. So I have them now on 45 minutes. I do that once a day. When they come in my widowed loft, which widowed cocks are down in the back of the aviary left. The hens come in, they get some treats, some small seeds. When they're all in, this morning 10 were missing, and they came after 15 minutes. They were there. I put them back in the aviary, and I put the cock back in the loft, and that's it for the whole day. That's it. But they fly 45 minutes, and they don't come down because I have 3 flags out. I don't want them to come down.
Hey, let me ask you, if you think tomorrow, I'm using tomorrow as a day in the week, if you let them out and don't put the flags up, will they come right down?
Yeah.
They will.
Yep.
All right. So you've
They
got
want so bad in that loft. I put the flags up, and when the 45 minutes is done, I'll walk. I turn the first flag down. I turn it up. I lay it down. I go to the last flag. I turn it up, lay it down. And when I put down the third flag, I have to open that trap, or they fly my trap out of my loft. I mean, they just want to come down, and it's just a system that they used to. It takes 2-3 weeks before they act like they're doing now, because and usually you have 1 or 2 stupid ones. I don't know if they're stupid ones, but they don't want to do what you want them to do. I take them out because it's all day every day it's trouble. It's always the same pigeons.
right,
And that's how they do it.
and again, I think what Serge is trying to say is Serge has been working on a system for 20 years, and yeah, you might tweak a little here, a little there, but the pigeons have to work on your system. If the pigeons don't work on your system, you remove them. Correct?
Yeah. Same with young birds, same with old birds. I had my second round young birds. It's something totally different now, but yeah, I let them out every day. 2 won't fly. I put the little color ring that I put on to know first round and second round and third round. I put it to the other band and see if they drop. I know which one they are, and they did it for 4 days. They won't do it again because they're
Gone.
dead.
Yeah, that's right. And strict, and you see strict is good. Now, I know, Leah, we've got a lot of, I see the screen popping up, flashing. Questions, comments, Leah?
We do have some questions from the audience for Serge, but before we get to the questions from the audience, my question for you, Serge, is I know you said this beginning of your season, you've had a bang up season so far, you're doing great. My question to you is, have you had seasons where you don't start off so great? And if you do, what do you do to remedy that? Do you tweak the feed? Do you what do you do if your season isn't starting off as stellar as it has for you?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I once told my friend, sometimes I have a bad race. In my 45 years, I never had a bad season. And now that's maybe big headed, and maybe people will say, yeah, here we go. But it's the truth. And what would I do? At first, I always go mid February to the vet, check them. If they are fine, they are fine. If they I don't do anything then. Treat them. I medicate them when they're on eggs for 5 days. I medicate them with BS from the weird, and then I start training. And if they would not come, I would go immediately back to the vet. I wouldn't start trying with this antibiotic or with that antibiotic, and that's a good thing we have in Europe here. You saw that, Ryan. We can go to the vet. And it's not far. I can choose 3-4 vets. I always go to Belgic at the Weird because it's close, it's good. I can, if I call in the morning and say, hey guys, I have a problem, they say, come in, we'll wait for you. And does they solve the problem? So far, usually they do, but how often does it happen? Maybe one in the last 10 years. Other than that, it was always, I'm sorry, good. And sometimes it's better, sometimes it's not so great. Now it's great. Why? The weather is good. The weather was warm, dry. The loft is good. I know that the loft is good for 25 years, but sometimes you have a cold, wet spring, and then pigeons are not in the condition they are now. But obviously, also for my competitors, they are not in that condition then. But I would go to the vet if I see, something's wrong here. I would go immediately to the vet. That's what I would do. Even and I probably can tell the vet what's wrong after 45 years. You know what's wrong. You see it. But yeah. I need his advice. I need his medication, and I need to know what would he do. That's why I would go to the vet.
Yeah, it's that's amazing. You have pigeon vets, isn't that something, Leah?
Yeah, well, there certainly. Yeah, we don't have that here. We don't have the luxury of pigeon vets here, but it's so great that you guys have that support there that you can go to and check with an actual vet who knows something about pigeons. That's awesome. ABC Loft on YouTube is asking, Serge, how do you like to feed your young birds? Do you feed them by feel or by measurements?
Only by feel, never by measurements. What I have to do, if I whistle, it may take 40 seconds, but they have to be in. If they don't in, I feed less. If they go in and I feel them light, I feed more. Once they go on racing season, I feed as much as they want, but then they're on body weight. They have the condition. They are like I want them to have them. In the beginning, sometimes it's a problem. They don't want to fly. I chase them. They have to, they have to get ready in my system, but never on measurements. Never. Always with my eyes. Rarely with my heart, because if I do that, I feed too much. I always have to watch that I don't step on them or their tail is out, because I have plenty young birds and they're pretty hungry. I feed once a day in the evening because I want them to listen when I let them out next day. They listen, and that's how I do it. I wouldn't say that measurement is wrong, but I've been told and teach how to raise pigeons in a time that measurement was not so important yet. Now it's all with computer and so many grams of this and that. And I wouldn't say maybe it's better than what I do, but this works for me, and that's why I keep doing it.
Yeah, it's a feel. It's a feel. It's a total feel. You see it, you feel it. You know, oh, they're a little too hungry. Oh, you know what? They're a little slow today coming in. It's all adjustments. And again, if you write it in a book, every day is different, isn't it, Serge? You know, some days you get up and you just go, man, I'm real hungry today. Yeah. Other days you're very, very consistent on what you eat. It makes sense. I'm the same way, feed by feel. Now, your young birds, I'm sorry to interrupt, Leah. Your young birds, you feed them once a day. Is that right away, right from weaning, or do you feed them twice a day until they start going out and then cut them to once a day?
To be honest, when I wean them, they have 3 weeks food in front of them.
Okay.
As much as they want, because they're not all weaned on the same day. I want them to eat good. I want them to develop good. So I feed a lot. They don't go out. I don't let them out from day one because they're too young. They can't fly. So once they all start sitting in the perches, I keep feeding once a day and I start whistling. Toot, 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 with my whistle.
Yep.
And once they come out, before they come out, they know the system because they know, oh, he's whistling. And when I whistle and 2, 3 are out, sorry, no food. Sorry, if I'm not at the table, I don't get any food. So they don't get any food. They don't do that for 3 days. They do it for 1 day, maybe 2 if they're stupid. Never for 3.
Serge, it's kind of like when your mom called you in for dinner and you stayed out on the soccer field, or you were riding your bicycle. She only told you one time, and then your dinner was put away, wasn't it?
So I think that's a great point to make, Serge, that I just want to reiterate to everyone. You don't switch to the once a day feeding until the pigeons have been properly weaned. You give them as much as they want to eat for the first 3 weeks until they're healthy and properly weaned. I just want to make sure everybody understands that so they're not taking new babies right out of the nest and expecting them to only live on once a day feed. I just want to make sure everybody knows that he feeds them all they can eat until they're weaned, and then he switches them to the stricter, more once a day feeding, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. But I must say the first, like I sound here now, it seems like my youngers, I have them on a very strict diet, and no, they get as much as they want once they go out and they're used to the system. They get actually as much as they want in the evening until there's a little bit in the feeder, not much. But by not feeding them next morning, they're hungry anyway next evening. And they develop, they grow, they mature, they're really racing pigeons. Because I don't think you can keep a young bird when it's young hungry. It may be hungry, but not like on barley and this and that. He must develop, he must grow. And he doesn't have to perform yet. They will perform in a month, and then we can do something with the food. But they have to listen, and listen. I think it's like a baby, like a young child from 5, 6, 7 years. If you don't teach him to listen, he won't listen when he's 25. Sometimes they don't do anyway, even when they listen when they were 7. But you have to teach it young. And once they're young and they know the system, it's an animal. And when they know the system, and an animal you can teach by feeding, by nothing else but feeding.
Yeah, I think you're right. The feed is your only control on them. And I'm going to ask this other question. With your young pigeons, you let them out the same time every day?
I let them out the same time every day in the beginning. As long as they're not trained, as long as they're young, they go out in the afternoon. Once they're trained, and once they have some few tosses, they go, and once they're on the races, they go out with my old birds. My young cocks go out with my old cocks. One ding, boom. My old hens go out with my young hens, boom. And when it's hot, like now, 6 o'clock in the morning we start, or 5:45, we're done by 7:30. Everything's in, finished for the day. Easy.
Okay, that's interesting. So I know what you're saying. So by feeding them once a day, the system gets used to that. So they know when you come in for dinner, I know what you do. You give them as much as they want until they start to leave feed. You pull that away. They go every day at the same time, so the system's running properly. And when you make that adjustment to move them into the morning, to put them out with the cocks, the young cocks to the old cocks, and the young hens to the old hens, obviously there's a little adjustment there, which is understandable, but they'll get on to that. Do you find letting the young cocks with the old cocks helps give the old cocks a little more get up and go, a little more? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, since I don't go to road training and I only do loft flying, it's a bigger flock. And the young pigeons, when they come in with my old birds, the old birds already have 7 middle distance races behind them, and they're over the half of the season. So I always think that when the young bird, if you have the young bird really going, they help the old bird going back, getting a little bit motivation again. Sorry.
Yeah, a little more jump to the step of something a little bit new. Hey, look, we got some new young muscle in here, and away you go. A lot of common sense there, Leah. Again, you see it, guys. Listen to what he's saying. This is a master, a super master of pigeons, and it's all by feel. It's all by feel. Take it away, Leah.
Tracy is asking, Serge, do you stop flying your birds at a specific age? Do you retire them at a specific age?
I usually retire them when they don't win early prizes anymore. But sometimes I have such a great season and I lose two very, very good old birds already because it's been 4 weeks of headwind, so they retired even too soon. But other than that, I have one 4-year-old. I had three 3-year-old. All the others are younger, and I only have 16 old birds and 85 yearlings, 1-year-old. Why? If they're special, they go in the breeding loft. If they're not special, they're not good enough to stay too many years. I don't put them in the stock loft. I don't sell them. I kill them. But I need good old birds. Why? I like to be champion here and there. So I need some old birds for championship because yearlings cannot compete with us in the championships of old birds once we go over 300 miles. So that's why I need old birds. Would I dare to do only yearlings? Yes. Would I dare to do only 3, 4, 5-year-old pigeons? Never in my life because they're too slow. They had too much experience. If you go 500, 600 miles, yes, I need an old bird team. Not what I do. I do 200, 300 miles, sometimes 400 miles. I need a young team. I need a very young team. And last year I had an unbelievable young bird team. I told that Ryan when he was here in the winter. And it shows. I have, most of the time, I have 10 yearlings before I have an old bird. So I like to have a young team. But I think a rule for sure is 2/3 yearlings, 1/3 old birds. I think that's a good rule. If you keep doing that every year and year and year, you won't get too much old birds. Your team won't get too old, and you always have a replacement. Sometimes you have good young birds like I did now last year, and I have more yearlings. Sometimes you have a bad young bird season. There's hardly anything left. So then it doesn't go up 2/3, 1/3. But I always try to work 2/3, 1/3.
Right, and I think another thing is what you're saying is you predominantly like, from 250 to 400 and change miles. That's what you specialize in, and that's how you're grading it. If Serge, if I said to you, hey, you're going to do from 400 to 700, you're going to have a different plan of attack. You're going to have different age pigeons, correct?
Yeah. If you would say to me, hey, let's compete 500, 600 miles. If I do that with the loft I have, I think by end of the racing season, the loft will be empty. Because they can do it once. They cannot repeat that performance. They don't have the muscle for it. They don't. Usain Bolt can't do a marathon, and those marathon guys can't beat Usain Bolt on the sprint. It's different. I have middle distance pigeons, and they can go 450 miles. Surely, I have pigeons that can do 450 miles several times. But when the wind is on the head, and when we have wind like we have now from the middle distance, you destroy your pigeons because I don't have the pigeon for that work. It's a different pigeon.
Right, and I just want to say this. I've had people ask me, do you prefer, and let me finish here what I'm going to say. You're better to send long distance pigeons out because they can do the short races and then they can do the long one at the long. I look at a one loft race, and I'm just bringing one loft races up. I'd rather send more sprint middle distance pigeons to one loft races because I know the last race, if it's a tailwind or a headwind, a sprint pigeon will give it to me one time good. He will. It's not like I'm asking him to do it every time. He's got to do it one time, and you take the most out of him that one time. Do you kind of think that's right?
Yep, I think that's right. I can get him to do that performance once, but to repeat it on that distance that they're actually not born and built for and trained for, it won't repeat themselves. You lose them or you destroy them, and then they're no good anymore. So I don't do that.
Okay.
But if I would do it, I think I could. I did it once, but there are different pigeons. It's a different strain of pigeons selected by 100 years for different races.
Awesome.
Great job, guys. Guys, keep the questions coming. We're going to have Serge on for the next 25 minutes or so. So please get the questions in. We're also going to be showing some super breeders at the end of the program. So you want to stay tuned for that. Daniel Herman on YouTube is asking, Serge, I know your hens are flying around the loft now, but what race distance are they now racing? And how do you measure their recovery from the races?
What do you mean with how do you measure the food or?
How do you measure their recovery from the races? Ryan, any ideas
How
there?
they recover?
Yeah.
How do you measure their total recovery? Yeah.
Yeah, they did 65 miles, 140 miles, 140 miles, 200 miles, 240 miles on Saturday. They go to 260 miles next Saturday. They recover very well. A hen can take more than a cock. I don't think the distance. I think in the basket they're easier in the basket. They don't fight. They're not so nervous. But the funny thing is, from 10 seasons, 8 seasons, my hens are way better than my cocks. This year, all the first prizes were won by cocks. And I usually had my first 10 on Saturday were 8 cocks and 2 hens. When I had 25, I had 13 hens and 12 cocks. So the hens keep coming up, but the cocks are better this way. But the hens are recovering a little bit better than the cocks usually.
I hear the kids going crazy there in the background. Kadir Khan is asking, do you have any tips for optimal health of pigeons? Oop, there we go. Optimal health.
What's the problem?
I don't know. He's asking, do you have any tips for optimal health of pigeons? What are your tips to keep them healthy?
What I do to keep them healthy, I use a lot of natural products. I try to avoid too many pigeons in the loft. I have widowwood loft from 16 boxes. Maximum 11 pigeons are on there. And like now already, a few I selected out. I have 8, 9 pigeons on the loft from 16 boxes. So it's big lofts with few pigeons. Young birds, in the beginning, they're full. I always have my best races when a bunch of them are gone or when I selected them out. So not too many pigeons in the loft, not too many medication. Try to keep them as healthy as you can by natural, but try to select as hard as you can. If I see one that's, I think, his health is not like it should be, especially when it's a young bird, he's dead. Maybe that's hard, but that's the way it should be because it will cause you problems. Do I know if it's a good one? No idea. Do I know where he comes from? No, I always look, when he's dead, I look at the band, which number it was, and then I know where he comes from. But I'm not going to be, that's for my best breeder, but he's not so healthy. Yeah, well, he can stay. No. Go. And the harder you select with health, the less problems you will have, the easier it will go, the better it will go.
Yeah, it's just what we talk about, common sense, right? It's so simple, but people do exactly what you say. They look and they say, well, I purchased this expensive pigeon. I paired these 2 expensive pigeons up. They're supposed to be on paper my best. They don't even know if they are their best. These 2 young ones came out, or this one comes out and he's full of canker, or he's got horrible respiratory, and they're trying to fix a car that has no strength. And those normally don't do it. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I never, with young birds, I select as hard as I can. Now when I'm going training, I'm going to treat them the same like my widowed pigeons, 5 days for trichomonas and coccidiosis, because I believe that's one of the reasons they would get sick. But other than that, if I had none so far, I told you before, we had a very dry spring. The weather was good. So the health of the young birds is really, really good. So I had no problems. But if I would have 3, 4 that were not good, I would have killed them. I would have taken them out. And I wouldn't even look, is it for my good breed? No, he breeds young too. We all breed too much young. Unfortunately, otherwise I would have 20 pigeons and 18 good ones, but it doesn't work like that. It's it's just pigeon sport.
You hear it, Leah, from the master.
From the master, Tracy says, what do you use on your loft floor, Serge? Do you scrape? Are you dry litter? Do you use grates? What's your floor system?
I tried dry litter a long time. It works perfect, but I have health problems with my lungs, and I'm scraping now. When I clean, when I clean in the winter, it was not so clean. You saw that, right? But now it's perfect. It's perfect. The umbers are still. It's clean every week, once a week. Yeah. So the umbers are not so clean as the old bird. I want them to mature. I want them to have their immune system that they can take something, because they have to sit in the shit in that basket going on transport. So if I keep them too clean, it doesn't work. But the widowed cocks and my hens are in the aviary on grills. My widowed cocks are scraped and they're clean. To be honest, they're very clean. But the young birds are nothing on the floor. I tried litter, but I didn't do that anymore. But it's not scraped, maybe once a week.
You know, and an interesting thing, as you say, you have to build up the loft immunity. And I think always with dry litter, it helps you build up. It's very good for that. But I noticed on your transporters, you guys don't have feeders for the baskets. You have drinkers that clip onto the side, but your baskets, if they feed in the baskets, they feed right in the basket on the floor. Is that correct?
I don't get that, Ryan. Sorry.
So what I'm saying is,
it's about the transport.
Yeah, in the transporter, they feed right in the basket, on the floor of the basket. Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they hook on the drinkers to the side for the birds to have a drink. But we're saying that the birds are fed actually right in where they're standing, so they don't eat through a feeder. They eat right in the basket.
Oh yeah, they eat in the shit. That's right. That's how they do it. That's how they do it. That's great transporting in Belgium. Really good. Really great. So it's terrible. The Dutch are much better than we are. Our weak point is transportation. Our trucks look good, but they're shit. They're terrible. They're really not good for pigeons. And especially when we have a cool spring, a cool summer, it's okay. It works. Once we go over 30 degrees and they're in that transporter, it's hell for those pigeons. I don't think a human survive in that. Terrible. But feeding in those shavings, or what do you call it? Yeah, shavings, eh? And drinkers. That's why I treat them every 4 weeks. I treat them 3 days against trichomonas and coccidiosis, because that's the thing they can have there. And it's just like that for 50 years, and it hasn't improved much. Really, it's still the same trouble. Because I think the big problem is we have private transporters. And it's their business, it's their living, and they don't care much for pigeons. I mean, they act if they do, but they don't. But you can make yourself mad at it, but I try not to think about it. And it's for everybody the same. We'll try to deal with it. Nothing we can do about it.
There you hear it. Tough.
Jay-Z is asking, do you have problems with hawks in your area? If you do, and I know you said that you let your pigeons out at the same time every day, do you find that the hawks, like, they know that, oh, look, this is when Serge is going to let his birds out, and they attack, or no?
Oh, a hawk knows, but if you change the hour that you let him out, he knows in 2 days that you let him out at another time. It doesn't help a damn thing. Problem is, we have sparrowhawks. We have how do you call it? I think you call it a red-tailed hawk or something. We have the falcon. We have everything, and I'm particularly in trouble because I have pine trees in the back of my loft. I have pine trees in the front of my loft, and he's always coming out of a pine tree. Always, because you don't see him there but now it's better now. But March, April, that's a disaster. I think he eats 15, 16 of my young birds and 3 old birds. And then I'm very careful. I always stand with my young bird, never let him out alone, because if I let him out alone, he's there. And now he comes sometimes and I can chase him off, but not much you can do about it. And especially for a sparrowhawk, it's okay. But a big hawk, it's a big problem. It takes him in the air and takes him back. and nothing you can do about it. It gets more and more the trouble, really trouble.
Yeah. John from Facebook is asking, do you join one loft races like Pattaya or Victoria Falls, etc.? Are you into one lofting?
I never participate in a one loft race, never. But the pigeon from me won the South Africa $1 million race. Pigeons from me won several one loft races in the United States, but not sent by me. I don't do that. I'm a pigeon fancier in my loft. I still have the competition that I can do. Maybe if I'm out of competition and I'm too old to take care of them, I may be sent to one loft races, but I'm not a fan of one loft races. I know it's very popular, and I think my pigeons would do good in it, but I don't compete in that.
All right. Daniel's asking, what is your feed brand, and how about the protein content of the feed during weaning versus training?
Yeah, my mixture of my brand now. I'm feeding the old bird now at the moment is Buyers, and what I feed my young bird is from. You've been to that store, Ryan, in Zonderhagen, from. What's his name again? Well, it's a local brand, and I feed that. I feed breeding mixture when they're weaned for the first 3 months. I feed breeding mixture. Then I feed a young bird mixture. When I want them to go on the wing and I want them to train harder, I put some diet in it or lighter mixture. I don't know how many percent protein is in the breeding mixture. I don't know how many percent protein I feed during racing season. I said I feed with my hand and my brains, not with my heart. And if it works, I don't want to know. What I do know is if I work with, and I tried that out. I tried a lot of things out that didn't work. It's it sounds easy now, but I also had some terrible things that I did wrong. Jesus, I forgot what I wanted to tell you.
It's okay.
I'm talking too much.
Serge, it happens to me. It happens to me. You're on fire. I told you guys. This is the legend.
Tell you. I'm sorry. Jesus, what I wanted to tell you.
It'll
Don't
come to
worry.
you.
We'll
I
skip
have no
that.
idea. I don't know. Sorry, getting old. Sorry.
It'll come to
Sorry,
you.
folks.
It'll come to you. We've got more questions. Let's see. Where are they here? I've lost it. Here we go. Brahim on YouTube is asking, how many times per season do you allow birds to lay eggs?
I think he's talking about my breeding pigeons. I take 4 rounds from the best. From the best, I take the 5th round, and that's it. But then they maybe lay 3 times more in the aviary when they're separated. I cannot avoid that. But breeding and raising youngsters 4 times, mostly some 5 times.
And add to that, how many times will you breed on a selected pair before letting go if they don't produce?
I always say if somebody comes here and he wants pigeons, I say, listen, try to repair several times a year. Give him 2 years chance. If you don't have any young birds after 2 years from that pigeon, kill it, and you won't know it an hour later because you have nothing from him in the loft. So I don't give him much time. Maybe I'm too quick, but if nothing there, why the hell would I bother another year? I take 6 young birds from each pair that I have in breeding loft for racing. And 1 pair I put in from the best ones in the aviary, so that's 8 pigeons. Tied 2 times 2 is 16. With 3 different hens, if it doesn't produce by then, he won't produce, or maybe here and there 1 youngster, but he won't produce the way I want him to produce. So not too much. I don't take too much time for that. Maximum 3 years.
Hopefully that answers your question. We have another question, or actually a comment from Michael Walsh, who says, I'm really excited to receive my 2 Serge Van Elsacker birds that he bought at our Feathers Elite auction. I'm new to raising pigeons, but I was really impressed with your loft tour. So that's a great comment there, and we're super excited, Michael, for you to receive the Serge birds, which will be starting quarantine in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you. I hope he has success with them. If not, let me know too, huh? Good or bad, let us know.
Good or bad, let Serge know. That's a good segue that I know you had some breeders that you wanted to show us today, Serge. So what?
You asked me.
Yeah.
I had, and the winners from the last 3 weeks. The winners. I have one of the parents here, not both
Okay.
because it would take too long. I have my first winner. He was first on Modeling Court, 374 pigeons. He was second behind the Loft mate, 578 pigeons. The next week he was second again, but he was beaten by one of mine. I got three together. And his mother is a daughter of Speedy Gonzalez, which was second national ace pigeon of Belgium. She comes out of Speedy. The mother is Speedy Gonzalez, and her mother was a sister of a third national ace pigeon long distance, third national ace pigeon middle distance, and a daughter of the first national Montalban. So I'll show you her first.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Guys, if you have questions for Serge, now is the time. Put them in the comments, and let's have a look at what we got there, Serge. Let's hold her up.
Where should I put it? Where? There.
Hold her right up. There we go. Beautiful.
Okay, yeah. Whoa. Yeah, you see.
Don't let him go, Serge.
You see that the breeders had 4 rounds of youngsters. She's on her 5th round. You see it in the mold. Every round they throw a flight. And she has now babies from 8 days. And if you allow me, I was planning to ban them for you guys to auction them next year.
Oh.
And she's with the same cock that she bred that winner. His sister, she was 4th this week. So I think this is going to be a very good breeding hen. Her brothers breed good, and she's a half sister of Speedy Wonder, which is my main breeder at the moment.
And what's the band number on her?
Her band?
Yeah.
6055192. Speedy's girl.
Speedy's girl.
Yeah.
What a.
She's just the same from color, but all 3 breeders breed winners. Never been in the basket. Never won a race. Never did anything. I always select them, like I told Ryan, what I love to do is breed youngsters, select them, and put them in the stock loft for my best pigeons, and they keep doing it. I don't know why, and sometimes you have a racer that you think, ooh, I have to put him in the stock loft, and he doesn't breed a chicken. So I think it's very important to keep your strain with you. You want to tell something?
Looking at this, yeah, well, I got to talk now. You can't show a pigeon and not have me say something, Serge. Come on now. When I look at that pigeon, it's a very dark room, which is fine. Now, this bird's had multiple rounds. It's very warm. Ladies and gentlemen, look at how white the wattle is on that pigeon. That pigeon's in super health. The feathers look slick. They look nice, tight. And I told you, thanks for banding those 2 youngsters.
She's in the aviary. She has babies from 10 days. So.
Yep. Beautiful. Super condition. And pigeon's getting results. You see it right there. What a super gorgeous hen. I can already tell you, she's super buoyant. She's not a big pigeon at all.
No, nice, she has a good back. She has a good wing. I like
beautiful.
I like the feathers, but doesn't mean it's a good pigeon, because a lot of bad pigeons have a good wing, have a good back. But they have to be a pigeon before they come in my breeding loft, and for my best pigeons. And this never raised none of the 3 ever was in the basket. I just selected them because they're coming out of my best pigeons, and they breed good pigeons again.
A question from Chris Marshman asking, Serge, how often do you bring in new bloodlines?
I used to do it every year. Years ago, I tried every year young birds and raised them. Then we got the hog problem, then we got the adeno problem, then we got all the problems in the world. So most of the time, nothing was left from those young birds. So I stopped doing that. Now I bought pigeons and I try them out. I don't have much patience. Usually after 2-3 years, they're out again. This year I didn't do anything. I didn't get any new ones. I'm not attempt to do new ones because I had a really great young bird team last year and a great yearling team this year. So I'm not going to do new pigeons. But I think you should try new pigeons on a regular basis. Don't put your own pigeons in the bag. Keep your own pigeons. That's the thing you need to do, and that's the thing you're winning. But you need to try. If it works once in 5 years, you can keep going on. If you only try new pigeons every 5 years and it doesn't work, we're 10 years further. and you're away from the picture. You're gone. That's how I see it. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I do it.
It works for you. I don't think it's wrong.
Les Gerard, I know we talked about your food and what brands, but perhaps he missed it. So just a little recap. What brands of food are you feeding your pigeons? What do you feed?
I feed buyers. I fed Verzelen. I fed Van Rabbis, and now I fed buyers. Why? Well, there was a story ahead of that, but now I feed buyers. And my old bird team get buyers premium widowhood. And my younger team get a local brand from a store near Holland, which is a good brand. He has his own brand, which is good from price, a lot cheaper than the big brands, but it works. I mean, it's good food, and I think that's the most problem, that it's healthy, that it's good. That's the most thing.
What would you say? What would you say if you had to get, if you could only pick one grain, one grain to feed your pigeons? What do you think is the most important grain to feed your pigeons?
The most important thing in the brand, or a brand?
Just the corn, barley, oats,
Oh,
safflower.
I think corn.
Corn.
That's what I think. I think on corn, I used to feed 60% corn. I'm back now to 50% more, 45, 50%. I don't think you can do anything wrong with corn. I don't think they need a lot of peas. They need a lot of protein from the grains. But I feed the protein. I feed the widowhood mixture when they come home. My pigeons always get as much food as they want. I see what they eat. If they don't eat the peas, it's not necessary that I feed them a lot of peas during the week, because they already don't eat the peas coming home recovering. So they didn't use any protein on the way. Why the hell would I feed them protein? I think corn is the most important thing, and I think good corn is very, very important.
Good job. Vibrating birds. Yeah, Ryan loves his corn. Vibration, Serge. What does it mean when a pigeon vibrates in your hands? Heather Green is asking, when a bird vibrates, what does it mean? Is it a good or a bad thing?
I have to answer something, and it maybe sounds stupid. I have no idea. I have no idea, to be honest. If it's good, if it's bad, why does it vibrate? I have no idea what it means. I don't know. No clue.
Ryan, what do you think?
It's just it's a preference. It's like, hey, do you like a blue bar with a white flight? Do you like a vibration? Do you like open vents? Do you like closed vents? I get a good feeling when I see a bird in vibration. I feel like the bird is, I don't know. You know what? It's what I like. And again, there'll be, for what I like and what Serge likes, there'll be a million people that don't like it. So that can be your fairy tale of what you like.
You know,
Did Go
to be
ahead.
honest, I like to be. There must be life in the body, but it's not so especially that vibrating. But you have to feel that it's a pigeon and there's life in it, and you feel the muscles and you feel everything okay. But a pigeon really vibrating, is it better than a pigeon that doesn't vibrate or only a little bit? I don't know. I have no clue, to be honest.
Pigeon Hub is asking, when introducing new bloodlines, if the winner is not for sale, which one will you choose? A direct son or daughter, or a full brother sister?
Ooh,
Ooh, that's a hard one.
tricky
I would say if there's a sale and there's 4 in the sale, I would take the pigeon that I like the best. If it's a brother or a sister or a son or a daughter, I don't care. It must be the pigeon that I think, and that's why I like what Ryan did. He came here, he selected pigeons, he handled them, and there was one in there that we didn't like. We took it out. We didn't auction it. But he has a selection. He can give you an idea how a pigeon is, and I think that's very important. If you buy pigeons on an auction site, then people must give you an idea what a pigeon is. A pedigree, I can write on that pedigree whatever I want. I'm not going to do that. but you can make a pedigree look as nice as it is, and maybe the pigeon is rubbish. So I think that I would take the best pigeon from selection and handling and close vents and soft feathers. Doesn't mean I can pick out the best breeder. No, no, absolutely not. But I think I have a shot with it, and that that's how that's how I do it.
Common sense.
Common sense is right.
Common sense.
Leighton over on YouTube is asking, how long are your birds training around the loft in the racing season? Cheers.
45 minutes.
45 minutes.
Yeah, sorry, it's a short answer, but it's always the same. 45 minutes.
Same answer. Hey, now also, Serge, I know you have another two crackers there to show us, and I always like to see birds. I'm getting to sit down. I'm far away, but I want to see what else did you bring us today, Serge? What else do we get to see in your little tickle trunk of supers?
What?
Did you bring us, you're going to show us some more birds? Do you have a couple more
Oh
birds
yeah,
that you're going to
yeah.
show us? Okay, let's have a look.
Sorry.
That's
I told
okay.
you, Leah, I don't hear very well.
That's okay.
My fault, Serge. I gotta use my outdoor voice. When I use my outdoor voice, everyone yells at me. Oh boy.
Ooh, who's that?
Yeah, this is the fantastic 280 from 18. Ryan auctioned a full sister from him. The beautiful blue white flight in the auction.
Yep.
That was
What
a
a
full
pigeon.
sister from him. He's from the Zachten with Dixie, and he bred the winner 2 weeks ago. He never raced, just in the stock loft. His two brothers were two of my best young birds in that year, but unfortunately I lost them on a disastrous race as a yearling, so I took direct brothers and sisters in the stock loft, and this bred the winner last week.
So
by the way, he was paired with that 403 from 14 Bamiske.
Okay.
And his daughter, we auctioned a full sister of the winner, which was a hen with a long beak that you liked so much.
Yeah.
Remember that? The blue bar.
The blue bar. Yes,
That was
Serge,
a
I
full
remember
sister
it like
of the winner. So we auctioned a sister of him in the auction, and we auctioned his daughter, which was a sister of the winner, a full sister of the winner.
So who you have in your hand there is Fantast. The band number, the last three digits of the 280. He is a son of Zachin and Dixie. And we
never
did
raced, just meet
very
in the
nice.
stock lot, but very buoyant, very good body, close veins, soft feathers, nice eye. That's it.
Beautiful.
super.
Yeah.
Daniel is asking, do you breed aggressive traits into your pigeons, or do you favor tamer pigeons? What do you look for as far as attitude of the pigeon? You like aggressiveness?
No, I don't like aggressive birds. A pigeon that always go in another box to fight, I hate it. And he has to be very careful or he's out. I don't like it. I like to be. There must be some spirit in it, but he must stay in his box. He must know his territory. He must defend that, but he must not bother all the other pigeons. I don't like that at all. What the attitude? I think if you have young birds, it starts with young birds. I think some young birds have a good attitude. Some young birds are as stupid as they are, and you just see how they act, how they respond on you. And I cannot. That's hard.
Uh-oh. Have we lost everybody? Has it cut out?
Not worth the trouble.
Right. Good point. We got somebody else that we're going to see there?
Yeah.
Okay,
this is the third one.
Okay.
And his son won the first one now Saturday, 2 minutes ahead. He's a son of the 5th national ace pigeon, Beyonce. He was never raced. He's the father of the first, first ace pigeon last year middle distance. He's the father of the 2nd ace pigeon Antwerp Union middle distance last year. And now a yearling brother of that pigeon won the first 2 minutes ahead from 474 pigeons Saturday on 220 miles.
So this is Dragon.
Yeah.
And
But also
again,
you see on the
very
fifth
nice.
flight, so 4 rounds. He bred 4 rounds, and he's separated now. And these pigeons, the lights are out, and then they're separated. They fall apart. They start molting. But
Perfect.
you see, the health is good.
Very nice. Look at the chalky white wattle, just beautiful. Michael Walsh says that the auction bird that he bought from you was a daughter of a Bemiske, is the one
And she
that.
is a full sister of that pigeon that won it 2 weeks ago.
Woohoo! So good job.
And she's the daughter of that one.
And question for you, Leah. You were going to give just a little rundown on this pigeon here. What were you going to say again?
Oh, I was
What
just
am
going
I
to
gonna
say,
do?
I was just going to let everybody know the pigeon that you have in your hand there, Dragon, who is a top breeder, sired to, among others, first ace middle distance Schley to 2021, second ace Union West 2021, first Hermes, and second Milan. So that's a super breeder you got there, Dragon.
Yeah, it's a good one. He's from 16, never raced, late bred. His mother was fifth national ace pigeon in that the year before. So I took him as a late bred, put him in the stock loft, and he bred winners. So yeah, must be a little bit lucky, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. So you have a race. You have a race coming up this weekend, Serge.
Yeah, we have a race on Turi, 200 and I think 240 miles. But they give it West 4, and that's a terrible win for me. But I hope they're gonna win it. But I'll try. But
Hey, Serge, before we wrap this up, what is the race this year that you're hoping to win? What's the one highlight for you that you're aiming for? That you're looking at to win. What's the number one race for you?
I don't do that anymore, Ryan. I stopped doing that because if I had something like that, it always goes wrong. I take it like it comes, and if I have another race like I had on Saturday, 24 in the top 30 with the first 8, I'm very happy with that. That's why I do it. And people came in the club and they say, when it's pigeon weather, you're hard to beat, and that's what I like. That make my day. And I'm not gonna say I'm gonna win National Bush because I know it's nearly impossible and it's probably never gonna happen. But maybe it happens. I won everything except the national. I won 6 national sections, but not an overall national. I think I'm never gonna win it. And I'm not gonna say I want to win that. No, I want to race good, right? That's it. I want to have a good racing season. That's it.
Serge, you're going to win a national. Remember, this is the year of positivity, and when you win that national, we will auction off the winner for you. But I think this could be your year. Leah, what a great show. Are there any more other questions? Because I know Serge, I'm sure, has got a busy evening ahead.
No other questions. However, I do want to encourage everybody after this broadcast, if you are interested in the Serge Van Elsacker pigeons and you are maybe missed the Loft tour that we did a few weeks ago now, you can certainly check it out over on our website at featherselitepigeonauctions.com or fepaeu.com. In our breeder directory, we have Serge Van Elsacker as lot number 80 in our breeder directory. There you can find some information on Serge as well as his loft tour here down at the bottom. You can just click on that and you can view Serge's loft tour on YouTube if you missed it. So I just wanted to let everybody know about that. Also, Serge, we were wondering if as the season progresses, maybe in August, if we could touch base with you again and bring you back on the show and check in to see how the rest of your racing season has gone. We would really enjoy to check in with you maybe in August or beginning of September and see how things are going.
That's fine. That's okay.
Super.
Awesome. Works for me, Leah. It works for Serge. He was on fire today. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you like this little sit down. I tell you, this man knows pigeons, a lot of common sense, a lot of feel. You feel it in him. You see the passion in him. He wins. He's a positive guy, but I will tell you the one thing that my dad says most he likes about Serge is he's one hell of a straight shooter. He'll tell you, and when he says, hey, you get birds for me, and they didn't do nothing, let him know. That's how not only he gets better at his own breeding, but he wants to know how it's doing for you. He wants you guys to have success. That's why Serge is here. This man stands behind his pigeons 100%. The best of the best. Leah, some great questions today. Audience participation was a 10. Serge crushed it out of the park. Leah, you were on fire. And those 3 pigeons, man, I'd love to buy those 3.
Good. Okay. We auction youngsters from them with your auction.
Don't tell them that yet, Serge. Jeez, but hey, thank you very much. Leah, you have anything else you want to say?
I want to wish Serge the best of luck with the rest of his race season. We look forward to checking back with you in August or September to see how the rest of your season goes. Please, Serge, keep sending me your results. I will post them up on your breeder information profile up on our website. An absolute pleasure always to talk to Serge. We want to give a big shout out also to your wife. I know she is an integral part of your racing team, and we do not want to forget the importance that your wife plays in the racing of your pigeons, right? She's very involved,
I'll
right?
do that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, guys, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Leah, that's Ryan, and that is Serge Van Elsacker. We're from Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions. We want to wish you a great rest of the week. Join us next week. Feathers Elite, Ryan and friends. Have a great week, guys. Thanks so much, Serge.
Bye-bye. Thank you.